Hi guys and welcome to a new episode on this channel. Want for a drink? Today we'll be talking about the battles of the Civil War. Now let's just download the data for now and let's talk about it. Now let's download it. Alright. Download it. Now what is this book? The Battles of the Civil War, by the way? No. Now, what is the battles of the Civil War? Well, the battles of the Civil War are all. This book, it talks about the Civil War itself instead of just how the Civil War went on. It talks about all the major battles of the Civil War. Now, we can't go into all the battles of the Civil War, so yeah, we just called it the battles of the Civil War. Now, these battles were talking about Fort Sumner, the battle at Gettysburg, and also the battle at Antietam and Bull Run. Yes, there were two battles at Bull Run, so. And these were all the major battles of the whole Civil War. Now, and even talks about how the war began. That the war began by the Confederates seceding because of Abraham Lincoln becoming the president. And well, if Abraham Lincoln became the president, that was bad news, and it was beeswax for Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was stung by a bee, but that's what I mean. And that's exactly how everything happened. Now let's put on my thinking cap. And now let's talk about this. Now, when these states, the black states, went away from the Union, that includes the Sunshine State and the state of Grandparents State, which is Florida, by the way, just went away. The Union were like, oh no, this isn't good, and they decided to go and stop the rebels from fighting them. The politicians, farmers, and all wanted to end the war in peaceful terms. But however, it turns out violence was the only way to do this. Now, first of all, Fort Sumner. This was the first major battle that happened. Now, first of all, boats for the Union were called to go up there, go to Fort Sumner. But however, the governor of that place, of the state where Fort Sumner was like, no way, no Union troops and guns and all that stuff was gonna get supplies from Fort Sumner people. He attacked Fort Sumner even before the supplies even came. After 2 days, the Fort Sumner had to surrender. A lot of Sumners actually said this was also the end of the Civil War, but everybody just wanted to lengthen it. And a lot of people found out about this, and when the next war was reported, they all went at the Battle of Bull Run. A lot of people went there. A lot of people who never knew what war was just went over the hills nearby, a safe distance from the bullets, and watched it like a puppet show. And they all expected that the black man will destroy that all the black men will be destroyed by the blue men. But however, that was not true. It drilled on for 4 years. And also, by the way, to those people who never knew about war, was like a 4-year puppet show. But still, that's what a lot of people thought it was supposed to be like. But however, it was nothing like that. There were lots and lots of battles. Sometimes some people who watched on those hills were killed, even though they were just like having a little picnic. And that wasn't pretty good for the Confederates. That was pretty good for the Confederates and the Union, though. A lot of people were killed, and then later a lot of people had to be forced out of looking at the battles. And this is the Bloody Shield battle, and again the Battle of Bull Run again. And this was when a lot of the troops from the Confederates spied on the Union, and then they fought, and then they were like, the Union seemed to be winning, but then the Confederates won. That was a little surprising. Even the North was surprised. Now let's skip over to the most major battle, the Battle of Gettysburg. Now the Battle of Gettysburg is one of the best major battles, and also the majorest battle of the whole war. Yes. The Battle of Gettysburg went something like this. The Unions and the Southerners were fighting, and this was the first time the South invaded into the South, and they were fighting. A lot of people, about over 5,000 men were killed during that day. Some of them were wounded or injured or all that stuff, but still, That was a heavy lost toll, and it was all the lost tolls of each battle that happened before the sins combined. Wow, that was pretty unnecessary. And then later, after 4 months later, the battle of Gettysburg, the place where it happened, all soldiers who died there, Confederate or Union, both alike, went into graves, and there was a national cemetery there. Even Confederates were buried there. And Abraham Lincoln gave out the Gettysburg Address, which he said was a pretty failure, a total failure, and no one remembered the speech. But it became the best known speech of the whole world. Skipping on the Battle of Gettysburg and then going to other battles. Let's not do this one. It's not that important. Ridiculous. And now let's go for the second to last battle of this, digging in around Petersburg. Now Petersburg is something looks like it's somewhere in Russia. What? Cameraman, did you do something? All right then. All right. Okay. Not your fault. Okay. Now this was a siege in Petersburg, where it was in the United States, not the Russian Petersburg, and this was where everything happened here. But however, it went something like this. First of all, Abraham Lincoln ordered a little siege around there, even though he didn't mean to. And then a lot of people dug in. The Unions were like, oh no, they're gonna advance us. So they dug an underground tunnel and exploded and used TNT to explode it. The some were like, meh, we can just run out the other side. They ran into the crater, but they were shot in the crater. And it was clickbait. A lot of people ran into the crater and tried to run up, but they were shot along the way because compare this. The distance of a straight line is much faster than the distance of a crater, right? Because it will take more time. A straight line is uncurved, while a curve is a little more distance since it's curved. So yeah, that's how the Union got the advantage. And then finally, Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant on a home where a man who always got into the war went away for years, and then he was like, all right, but this better be quick. And then this was the house where Robert E. Lee and Ulysses S. Grant met about their peace treaties. Ulysses S. Grant said, just give me your guns, but you can keep your horses. And also surrender. Robert E. Lee was like, not that hard, so yeah, all right. And then that's how the Civil War ended. And by the way, this is the picture of Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee with each other conferencing. This is Ulysses S. Grant and this is Robert E. Lee. So yeah, that's basically it. And if you want to look a closer look up of Ulysses S. Grant, here's an Indiana Jones version of a picture of him. Dun dun dun. And here's Ulysses S. Grant. Looks pretty old, though. So yeah, that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. Please like, share, and subscribe to the video if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next episode. Shinhan out. Peace!